What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome to Wrestling Warm-Up here on a Monday night, May 26th, 2014. And we're getting ready for the go-home show. It's a Monday, the go-home show to Payback, which is airing live this Sunday, June 1st, which will be a brand new month with 2 pay-per-views. And, of course, it'll be the pay-per-view of rematches. And joining us today, we have a big old panel to talk about Raw tonight, which will be coming from Knoxville, Tennessee, from the University of Tennessee's campus. So it should be a good crowd. It's an important Raw. We get to see Daniel Bryan possibly surrender the title. We'll see what happens here. We're going to talk about that first, straight out the chute. We're going to see build-ups towards the card, where hopefully we'll get more matches confirmed. We'll talk about that and where the 5-point Raw preview on WWE.com gets us prepared for what those matches are going to be, even though they're the matches that we've been calling for since Extreme Rules went off the air. But we got a bunch of guys joining us. Alex Beesong, Chris Walter, Ed Call, John Alba, Patrick Fritz, and Warhood are all here with you as always. Happy Memorial Day. I want to take a minute and just say thank you to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces that keep our country safe. Both of my grandfathers and my brother-in-law are some of those veterans, and I just want to say thank you. We appreciate what you do, and happy Memorial Day. I'm sure we're going to get a very patriotic Raw tonight. If anything else that we're sure is going to happen, it's going to be a patriotic show.
They always do that right. Always do it right.
Possibly a video package to kick us off with a bald eagle in some way, shape, or form, and of course the American flag, Old Glory, it's in Tennessee, so you know they're going to do it upright. And, of course, more than likely, some kind of Need to Breathe song or something playing in the background, as they usually do for these kinds of packages. Chris Walter, what do you expect tonight as far as the overall scheme of the show? Do you think it's going to be a good one? Don't get into anything specific. We're going to get into those all a little faster, a little one-on-one deal, but I just want to know from everybody, what are you expecting tonight as far as entertainment-wise? Do you think it's going to be a decent one to watch? It's 3 hours. It's a Memorial Day show. What's going on?
Hopefully we get entertainment, because the last 2 weeks have been awful. I don't think I've even made it through each episode, to be honest. And with this being the last Raw before Payback, there's only 4 matches announced so far. Hopefully we get the rest of the undercard booked. But I just want to be impressed with something tonight. Raw, it's just been, the pace has been really slow. There hasn't been like that one moment that makes you say, God, I have to tune in next week. And tonight I just want something really, really good to happen so I can be even more excited, hopefully, about Payback.
B-Song, what do you think?
I think it'll be better than the last couple of weeks, but it honestly couldn't get much worse. But I do think it is an important show tonight, and we will get something that's at least a little bit more entertaining than we have in the past.
I think one of the biggest factors is we actually have the WWE World Heavyweight Champion joining us on the show tonight, so that is going to make a little bit of a difference. Ed, what do you think?
Actually, you really jumped my point, Doug. I'm looking forward to potentially this entire show being a slow roll. I'm expecting Bryan probably around the 10:45 point getting into Raw. So I think that's where we're going to see him. I think it's going to be a slow roll towards that. But yeah, got to get a lot of undercard booking going. Potentially shore up the rest of the mid-card. And I'm not really expecting much out of the Shield evolution, but we'll get into that later on.
John Alba, your opinions on this?
I'm expecting Damian Sandow to be dressed as Uncle Sam at some point. That's about all the expectations. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It's very bittersweet because, Doug, you and I in particular were there. We saw it live. We saw Daniel Bryan win that title. It was an amazing moment, and it really would just suck to see it kind of stripped away from him. But the possibilities are endless, and I know we're going to talk more about that. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing tonight.
Hey, Ed, just letting you know, I muted you because there was a dog going crazy in the background. Patrick, what do you think?
I don't really have anything to add that hasn't been said already by the rest of the panelists. I think we have some finalization to the whole Bryan situation. Like Ed said a moment ago, we sum up the mid card, maybe get a couple more matches added. I think there's been 3 announced already. just to kind of like, build the foundation of the rest of the pay-per-view going forward and whatnot. But I think it's, we just see what happens with everything going forward. We had to have some answers to these questions leading into the pay-per-view.
Warhood?
One word: disappointment. That's all I think is going to happen in this Raw.
Grab way to look.
Stop talking about yourself.
Oh.
Oh. Whoa.
Just kidding. He's a college graduate, everyone. College graduate.
College, give it up.
Ow.
No, I think, let's go ahead and talk about the Daniel Bryan situation. The guy is, as we heard 2 weeks ago in Greenville, my hometown, injury, needed surgery, going to be gone. Stephanie McMahon teased that she was going to strip the titles off of him that night and then drug him out in a terrible angle, if you ask me. That gave him time to go to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. She, in London, says he has to come to show tonight and surrender the title because that's what's best for business. If you listen to Triple H's interview with Michael Cole on Wednesday of last week, you know that if he doesn't surrender the title, they're likely going to strip him and or beat the crap out of him and then strip him. There's going to be dire consequences if he doesn't do what's best for business. So that's where we are. And nothing but pure speculation has come out about what's actually going to happen here. No inside information about what they're really going to do has leaked out, which is, I think, actually better than par for the course for WWE in recent weeks. The fact that this is a situation where it has drawn some excitement. Every single person except for Warhood said that they were excited to see what happens with the title tonight. So we're at this stage. If he surrenders the title, if he surrenders the championship, where do we go from here? The only thing that we do know is that they're possibly looking at everyone on this panel for the last 2 weeks talking about what could happen. I was told the week that I wasn't here 2 weeks ago in Greenville that you guys were talking about maybe even doing a tournament or something to determine the number one contenders or something kind of like a WrestleMania 4 tournament where you determine who the champion will be. Obviously, Steph threw a bunch of names out in London that got amazing heat. That was a great segment last week on Raw from her. I thought that was perfect as far as a heel character concerned. However, they're talking about possibly a Money in the Bank match, Money in the Bank ladder match. Instead of for a briefcase, it's for the championship. That's one of the things that they're throwing out there that could happen at the end of the month of June if we get the title stripped off of Daniel Bryan tonight or he surrenders it. First and foremost, B-Song, do you think he surrenders the title tonight, or do you see this storyline continue to go into more of a authority he's going to have to strip it off of him kind of deal?
I think we'll have your latter viewpoint there. And before this reports that we had at WrestlingRumors.net came out that you actually wrote about that Bryan will defend the title against Triple H in a street fight, I believe, at MSG. Had it not been for these reports, I probably would have said yes, he will be stripped of the title. But now that we have this kind of little bit of confirmation that Bryan may indeed be competing in July and he won't be out for a very long period of time, I do think he will keep his title.
I think one thing we always need to remember is the card is always subject to change.
Oh, yes.
However, they're making a big deal of pushing this title match between Triple H and Bryan. Walter, what do you think? Do you think we see him actually surrender the title in a Edge-like surrender, or do you think that this just leads to Authority getting the best of him and stripping it tonight?
They're going to stall again. I think we're not going to get a definitive answer until Payback. What I think happens tonight is they're going to force Daniel Bryan to do it. He's going to, get his no chant going or whatnot. We might even see an appearance from Kane. And I think the segment ends with Stephanie saying, you know what, you be in Chicago for Payback, and if you don't give me the belt, we're going to fire you or we're going to suspend you. And I think this is going to be a way to keep Daniel Bryan off TV. Like you said, cards are always subject to change. That match with Triple H at MSG could always change depending on Bryan's health. I think what happens is at Payback, Bryan gets taken out. I don't know how exactly, but he will.
CM Punk, right?
Yeah, of course, CM Punk.
Okay.
But we might not see him again until SummerSlam. I think this is a way to write him off for a couple of months, keep him on the sidelines, make sure that neck is good to go, and then he makes his big return at SummerSlam.
You don't think we see him before SummerSlam on TV?
No, I think we see him at Payback, and then that's it till SummerSlam.
All right, Ed, you got an opinion on this? Title situation.
He's muted.
You're muted.
I think he muted himself.
Yeah, because I don't have you muted anymore. Unmute your mic.
Well, that's not happening. Can I snag this one, Doug?
Go ahead, John.
All right, so I'll say this. I'm not entirely sure where they're going to go with this right away, but should it come to the point where the title does get put up in a Money in the Bank ladder match, or just a ladder match for that matter, I know, Doug, this kind of works in your favor because you mentioned that you want to see the 2 ladder matches on the card. It makes it more exciting. And so, hey, let's have a Money in the Bank match, which you can, and let's have a match for the title. And think about all the whirlwind of possibilities that could happen at that point. I'll tell you what, I think it would be a brilliant idea to have someone win the briefcase and then another person win the title and then have a cash-in right there, because right away you establish 2 #1 contenders essentially out of the box just like that. So it's a chance to hit a little bit of a restart button. I think this could be heading towards a strip. It would be a really bad idea. You want to talk about best for business, it would be very bad to have your world champion not defending for 2 months essentially. I mean, as much as it sucked with Ziggler, think about it. Ziggler not being on TV for all those weeks when he was hurt and had the belt, it sucked, and it killed his momentum, and they took that title right off him. At that point, why didn't they even just strip him? You know, it kills that momentum, and I think we're seeing the same thing with Daniel Bryan, unfortunately.
Patrick, you got any words?
I just think that, this whole situation with Bryan, if they do take the title off of him, I mean, I know I said last week, they should set up something with like an interim champion, but, him stripping the title, it's kind of like, the situation we had a few months ago when Bryan was chasing the title and Orton, and this whole build-up again. It kind of seems like we're just rehashing that whole storyline again where, the title is held in abeyance until we get a final call or something else. I mean, does that lead to, another one of these matches where we have to have, a special guest ref come in to, give us the final say? I mean, it doesn't seem right. It just seems like, we're doing a broken record thing again.
What?
This is why I said it was a disappointment. I feel they're going to, like Walter said, they're going to stall this out till the pay-per-view. And they're probably, I remember when this first happened, they were saying something, I forgot who mentioned it on the panel back so many weeks ago, have like Brie Bella versus Stephanie for the title, and if Brie loses, Stephanie takes the title away from Daniel Bryan. I can see them doing something stupid like that, and then Daniel Bryan, like Walter said, is not going to be on television until SummerSlam, where he defends the title.
For the record, I don't think Stephanie and Brie is a terrible idea. I think putting the title implications. Right. That was on the episode I hosted. Title implications would not be a good thing for that match. I think there is a little bit of money in having Stephanie fight though, for sure.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying it's
right. Well, I want to say this quickly. First off, big shout out to SCE Robert Soma. He's got us posted up on his own personal theater right now. Wrestling Warm Up is on a home theater system. So that's for all you watching. You could have us anywhere. You want to build a drive-in movie theater, for Christ's sakes, just have us come in. We'll be there. But anyway, second thing, I still think, truth be told, the best thing they could do is put the title straight on Triple H. Just don't even have him win it. Just have Stephanie just give it right to him after Payback. I still think that is the absolute best thing they could do. It will be such a heat magnet. But and think the person who beats him for the title then gets a nice rub in the process. So,
well, let's do a free for all now. It's every man for themselves coming in with their opinions. I mean, what do you think? I really think that now that we've all said our piece, I think I'll say what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get the authority to as we talked about over and over again before WrestleMania 30. There is now with Daniel Bryan achieving his goal and winning the championship, we have to have the authority chasing after him. And we were going to say that the authority was going to throw a bunch of opponents at him. Now he's hurt. This is the perfect opportunity for them to actually hit him in the most effective way possible, strip the titles off of him. Obviously, they're saying if he doesn't surrender tonight, there's dire consequences. For me, I totally feel like they're going to strip the titles off of him tonight. I really feel that's where we're going, and I don't think it's going to be at the top of the show. I think they're going to build towards this, keep people. We might see the Authority at the beginning of the show, but likely it's going to be Shield and Evolution. We'll get to that later on. Why I believe that's going to open the show. They could prove me wrong because we thought when they were hyping up Hulk Hogan's return it would be the last thing, and of course it was the opening segment. But I think we're going to get the title stripped off of Daniel Bryan, and that's going to lead to a Money in the Bank match because, as you said, John, it's a reset button. And when you have a guy that's hurt, a guy that's been working extremely hard, and literally was the savior of the last, the first quarter of the year as far as wrestling goes, especially entertainment-wise in his matches, his style is crazy, his style is fast, and his style is reckless. And he's going to have to change a little bit of that, and they've got to get him more comfortable coming back in so he doesn't do the same get the same damage to his nerves as he did before. But we're going to get. I really believe that we get 2 Money in the Bank matches, one for briefcase, one for the title. I want anybody to jump in. Tell me your pros on having 2 matches like this. As you know, as John said, we get a champion and then we get a Money in the Bank. It gives us multiple names. It builds up the mid-card because we can have mid-card guys like your Damian Sandows, like your Dolph Zigglers, like these guys that are right at the top of your mid-card that you kind of want to see get pushed more towards and see if they're going to give them a shot at the big title now that we only have one. It gives them a match to showcase their talents in a ladder match, and it also gives us your big guys, your John Cena, your Bray Wyatts, your Cesaros, your Roman Reigns, whoever you want to throw into that Money in the Bank match for the actual title. It gives them a chance to shine and gives us a champion while Daniel Bryan's recuperating. What are the pros? What are the cons?
I think the obvious I'll just say my piece quickly. I think the problem with that idea is that if you're going to have a match, a ladder match with just guys fighting for the belt, there are very few guys that are at that point on the roster, on the totem pole, that would make sense in that match. I mean, you have like the Shield, you have the guys from Evolution. Daniel Bryan is obviously not going to be in there. Cena and Wyatt. But then if you have that, who the hell do you put in the other match? Because there's no one else that you can credibly have, maybe besides like Cesaro, who could win the briefcase and then realistically challenge for the belt. You're not going to have like Damian Sandow or Cody Rhodes in that match because no one is going to buy them as a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Maybe if there was a World Champion, they would be credible, but I just don't think there's enough guys that you can put in each match.
Anybody else?
Go on. That was Ed Call.
Sorry. No, I think Walter nailed it on the head. Unfortunately, the problem with stripping Bryan now and having 2 Money in the Bank title matches is that I think, honestly, storyline-wise, the roster is spread pretty thin to where we're even diving below the standard of Big E and Rusev to find people who, you do put them in the match and it's no storyline needed, but you don't really see them as people that really could be built up enough within about a year or so to be ready for that world title. I don't know, man. I just don't see it right now as the need for 2 ladder matches.
We've got to get them there.
Yeah,
it's a good position to get there.
We thought the same thing with Sandow last year. We thought that we were going to get him there, and then all of a sudden he loses a fantastic match with Cena.
That was all because of the title unification.
Circumstantial, totally circumstantial.
All because.
Oh yeah, but I mean, the thing is, though, is that they just gave up on him afterwards. Not even looking at a mid-card
because they had no room to put him. They had no room to put him. Sandow was going to be World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes, he was.
No doubt about that.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken the pictures with him holding the old World Heavyweight Championship.
I think about it, Del Rio was the champion at the time.
Yes,
correct.
Sandow was taking it. And they teased a face turn for Sandow, too.
Yes, they did. And it's another reason why he has shed a lot of the gimmicky aspects to his gimmick. He doesn't come out in the robe anymore. He doesn't, he doesn't do a lot of the, stand and orchestrate his music or, that kind of stuff. He's more blunt. He's more direct. He's pulling pipe bombs on a pre-show. He's cut his hair. He's a little bit less gimmicky. Is he still greater than you? Yes. Are you welcome? Yes. But the thing is, is this guy he's really good in the ring at what he does, and he is excellent on the mic, and they need to push him higher than they use him right now. They're not using him in any real capacity right now.
I think
teasing this stable of guys that are disgruntled. I don't think that's coming anytime soon.
No, Doug, I think this is an awesome opportunity to put a Money in the Bank match alongside a World Championship match, because you have the stars. You could do basically what you did with the WWE Money in the Bank briefcase last year, when they did that Superstar All-Stars, I think they called it, match. They could do the same thing for the title this year. They could do the same thing for the title this year, and then they have the one for the briefcase. We already heard this report potentially of Chris Jericho. Right. You have a Bad News Barrett. You have other guys who can come in and actually be effective here.
Cesaro.
Cesaro, obviously, a Ziggler, Cody Rhodes, a Shield member. Again, I still think you can do a lot with this, and I mean that's just a fantasy booking scenario, obviously. But I mean, think about that. You could build a star instantaneously with one of those guys. You really could.
And I will say this, Walter, you've got guys like Trask watching us on Twitter agree with you as well, where this is an open-handed discussion here where it could go either way because a lot of people are agreeing with you saying spreading 12 superstars out, that's way too thin because as Ed said, storyline-wise, they haven't been driving towards that. But they're going to have to adjust things because of Daniel Bryan's situation, just as we saw the build towards WrestleMania get adjusted because of Daniel Bryan. I mean, these are things, and CM Punk's departure. These are things that they're constantly having to deal with because they don't have a lot of superstars, as you say. I mean, that's the truth, and that's the common thing that we have to decipher with and discern is the fact they don't have a lot of big stars right now, and it's time to start making them. And we know that Bray Wyatt is now a freaking main eventer after working one program with John Cena.
Period. Imagine Bray Wyatt with the briefcase. Imagine Bray Wyatt just...
He is now. He is a main eventer. You can throw him in with anybody in the main event. He's only been on the main roster for almost a year. He debuted and had his first pay-per-view match at SummerSlam last year. It hasn't even been a full year, and Bray Wyatt's already a main eventer. So they're building people the right way, but they've only built one person the right way. We've got Cesaro on the rise. Cesaro will be a big name. Roman Reigns is on the rise. He will be a big name.
They're doing great with Barrett. They're doing great with Barrett.
They saved Barrett.
Bad News Barrett, the fact that he's got this gimmick over, it's a saving grace for this guy. Walter, how many times have we said, if he doesn't get over here, the guy's canned? That's just how it is. And he's getting over, and he's the IC champion again. Now, if we don't see two ladder matches, because I will say, till I'm blue in the face, that Money in the Bank should have two Money in the Bank ladder matches on it. If we don't have one for the title and one for the briefcase, then there should be one for the briefcase for the world title, and there should be one for the IC title. If we're going to build this title up to some more prestige, we're going to build these mid-carders up to possibly skyrocket them into the upper mid-card to the main event roster here soon. Give them a chance to shine either way, whether it's putting them for a briefcase for the main title or it's putting them in a briefcase for the freaking IC title, because it's time to start booking these guys where they're actually climbing a ladder and they can still ascend the ladder instead of climbing a ladder, getting to a plateau, and if they don't get pushed because of situations and circumstantial things like Sandow, like Fandango, who was supposed to be IC champ last May, like Ziggler, who was world champ and got a concussion and had to come down. These guys get knocked down, and then if you're Ziggler, you run your freaking mouth, and they continue to put you on the bottom. But we did see, and let's just talk about this. Let's talk about Ziggler for a second. Ric Flair is openly talking about the fact that WWE wants to use him on TV. He's going through physicals right now to possibly come back and be a manager for somebody. And the guy that he wants to manage is Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Mick Foley talking about the fact that Dolph Ziggler needs to change his name. My buddy Drew has said that from day one. He hates his name, loves the character. He's badass Billy Gunn, but with a terrible name, a Boogie Nights type name. These are what we're dealing with. But let's talk about that. Ric Flair coming back on TV. We got plenty of time tonight. There's no VOW, so we got all the time we freaking want. Let's talk about the fact Ric Flair is coming back on TV here soon, or at least that's the speculation. He wants to manage someone like Dolph Ziggler. That's the guy he wants to go with. Obviously, if they throw him with Miz, that's a waste of freaking time. Even if Miz is coming back as a face, who gives a crap? He is a waste. And let's talk about the fact that Dolph Ziggler could possibly be with Ric Flair. How does that build Dolph Ziggler back up into possibly a big talent? Walter, we'll go with you.
It's just nice to see all of these like big names in WWE history coming out and expressing their true opinions about a guy who WWE has really held back. And I know Ziggler has kind of dug his own grave. He's been outspoken about his position in the company. But, you know, I like the idea of Ric Flair being his manager because it'll make Ziggler relevant, which is what we want, which is what the WWE Universe wants. I mean, the guy has charisma coming out of every orifice in his body. He's so over with the fans. Yep. The guy can wrestle. I mean, we all know how great he sells in the ring, which is one of his big calling cards as a professional wrestler.
Like Flair.
Exactly, and I think the pairing, they just mesh well together. They had that thing with The Miz a while ago where Miz took his figure 4. That was stupid. I think The Miz is kind of an afterthought, even if he does come back. No one cares about the man anymore. Ziggler still has a chance. I got an applause, all right. But, yeah, Ziggler still has a chance, and there's still a lot they can do with him, and hopefully Ric Flair, pairing those two together, is just the start of something much bigger.
We'll likely see Miz on the pre-show tonight. I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. He's done filming, so we'll likely see Miz tonight. He's in a movie called The Marine 4, and it's Memorial Day. We're going to see The Miz tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me tell you something. They could have used Dolph Ziggler, and they still can use Dolph Ziggler, in the same way they used Kurt Angle between 2000 and 2001, where you could have him as a face, you could have him as a heel, you could have him bouncing between the main event and the mid-card and still being relevant. And I think for Dolph Ziggler, that would be perfect. You don't need to make Dolph Ziggler the center of attention with the programming. I don't think that's necessarily what you need. But you can send him to the main event. You can send him back to the high mid-card, and he'll be a player in each department as a heel or as a face. And I think that's where Dolph Ziggler best fits into the equation. And we're missing a lot of those guys in wrestling now. Because right now it's either you're in the main event, or you are just lost within the mid-card and have no purpose. How many guys do we see that are transitional who can go between both levels and not have it affect them? Kurt Angle was one of those guys earlier in his career, and I'd love to see them use Ziggler like that.
You know who else is like that I could see possibly, you know, as you were saying, who would win the Money in the Bank briefcase if they did a title ladder match and a briefcase match? Dude, Mark Henry is still good.
Yeah.
And he can float between mid-card and main event and not have an issue. Oh, he needs to be a heel, period. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Big Show float in between, but it's getting close to the end of Big Show's tenure, and we'll see what happens there. I think that's over. But let's get into talk about Raw. We're veering off track of Raw, which is fine because people want to hear about it. We want to talk about it. But let's talk about Raw. Let's talk about what they're going to build towards because Payback is only 6 days away. And we have 4 confirmed matches. We have The Shield versus Evolution in an elimination tag. We have, and it's no holds barred. And then, of course, we have Bray Wyatt, John Cena, Last Man Standing. We also have a United States Heavyweight Championship match, which we haven't seen on pay-per-view in God knows how long. Sheamus and Cesaro, which I'm kind of confused. I'm kind of confused about that one. The match will be good. Don't get me wrong. I have no worries about the match being good. My worry is if we're going to see a heel turn, it's going to be there with Sheamus because I just don't see them having Cesaro lose clean on a pay-per-view. But I also don't see them putting the U.S. title back on Cesaro either. So we'll see what happens there. We'll talk about that in a second. We also have an Intercontinental Championship match against that pits Rob Van Dam against Bad News Barrett. And we know Van Dam's not going to win this, but it should be a good match. And let's talk about that, where we go from here, what kind of interaction we get between Bad News Barrett and Rob Van Dam leading up to their match tonight. Do we see a Barrett match on Raw that RVD interferes in, or do we see some kind of promo? Obviously, Rob Van Dam's not going to cut promos that are long and actually get the verbal part going. I was concerned about Van Dam last Monday. I thought maybe he in London was getting a little 420 on, because he looked super high during his match. And super confused. That was a bad match, and that was Del Rio and Rob Van Dam, who have had really good freaking matches. I mean, go back and think when Ricardo Rodriguez died. this is when Rob Van Dam was feuding with Del Rio last year, and they had really good matches. And that was a shit show Monday from London. So, you know, I always could say Rob Van Dam always gives you a fantastic match, and I'm looking forward to whatever match he's in when it comes to the IC title. Now I'm kind of worried. I'm like, please God, don't let it turn into what it was on Raw last week. But I still think it's going to be a good match. What do you guys think happens there? Obviously, I don't. Is anyone on the panel believes Rob Van Dam will win the title here?
No.
Yeah, of course not. And I would call you a mark if you thought so. And I'm a Rob Van Dam mark. So, what do you think we see tonight from Barrett Van Dam to get us to Sunday?
I think we're going to get a tag match tonight, or at least that's how I'd book it. I'd book Sheamus and RVD versus Barrett and Cesaro.
That's read my mind, man. Yep.
Yeah. I mean that. It's an easy way to do it. You can have someone lose easily that way, and it can be from either side.
Or it can just end in a smodge where they all come in. And
exactly. And it's a way that RVD can still stand strong without having to beat Barrett, or that Sheamus can still stand strong without having to beat Cesaro. So that's how I would.
And don't forget that RVD has had, verbal confrontations with Paul Heyman and Cesaro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah.
So that's easy. I mean, that's easy booking. I like it. And that goes to the U.S. title picture that we're looking at for Sunday. That's the same kind of thing. If I posed the same question, I would expect the same answer for booking-wise tonight. Even though Sheamus and Cesaro could, and Heyman, of course, Heyman's going to get stick time no matter what tonight. And remind us that his client, Brock Lesnar, defeated the streak, conquered the streak, if you will, at WrestleMania 30. And he's going to continuously say that until Brock Lesnar returns. Where do you think that's going? Him saying that over and over and over again.
I'll tell you where it's going.
To me, it makes me feel like Cesaro's going to get pissed off that Heyman's not.
Yes.
What is going to happen when Cesaro beats Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam and turns around and says, "Your client conquered the streak, but I conquered your client," and everyone loses. Amazing.
I mean, that's. But I'm asking. The whole point of him repeating this is literally to get Cesaro kind of pissed off at his manager, right?
It has to be.
It has to be.
Because it gets me, personally, it gets me angry. You're kind of not
doing his job then.
But it's not. I'm not getting angry at the sense that I'm getting angry for Cesaro because you're not putting him over. I don't want to say burying.
So it's not kayfabe.
He's doing his job. Because that's exactly where we're going, and I think it's beautiful. There's one man in this company right now that can literally still get heat in a kayfabe wrestling environment, and that's Paul Heyman. When he comes out, people want to cheer him, and then when he starts talking, they start booing the man, and that's because he's got that. He's one of the only people that still has that quality, that ability to be able to be a heel. I mean, really, just to be a heel.
But
see that much from anybody.
I'll just put this out there, and I mentioned this on the Nick and Brian show earlier. Does anyone else agree with me that Paul Heyman has brought kind of Cesaro down a notch? I thought Cesaro was better off with Coulter when he was doing the We the People, and he's the king of swing. He doesn't even do the swing anymore.
But that's the whole thing. That's the whole point, and it's brilliant right now. I
don't know, man.
If you're right, Doug, if you're right,
John,
I will. That's how you should book it, and I don't think that the WWE is smart enough to book it like that. I hope Heyman suggested it.
They need to revert Cesaro back.
The moment Cesaro puts Heyman in the swing.
Oh yes, it's gonna be a great moment, but I don't think WWE is smart enough to do that.
Someone even brought this up on Twitter.
You, sir, need to stop watching wrestling because obviously you missed out on the last.
Maybe.
50 Go watch XWF.
Someone brought this up on Twitter. What if during the United States Championship match we see a double turn similar to what we had with Del Rio and Ziggler?
Well, Heyman's not going to go face.
No,
with Cesaro.
No, I know
Cesaro is a tweener right now anyway. I think
Barrett's a tweener.
Here's my here's my thing, Walter. I think that we possibly could see that because the WWE's whole plan here, for you that are watching that haven't been to WrestlingRumors.net and followed the stories regarding Cesaro's push, and shame on you for not doing so. You should be coming to WrestlingRumors.net every single day to get
or released on the app.
And no, this is what they're aiming for. They don't want to turn Cesaro full heel with Paul Heyman. they want Heyman the heel, and Cesaro to be the guy that you want to root for, but he's with this heel. And what they could do there, Walter, is take Sheamus, turn him full heel, make him just really just be a bastard with Cesaro, get disqualified, whatever. And, of course, have Cesaro be the face that gets the comeback, whatever. Obviously, he's not going to win the title. He's probably, I really think that we're going to get Sheamus turning heel. I mean, the freaking website, WWE.com, usually doesn't do things just to do them. They usually are teasing at something when they put something up. That's just how they work. It's why they do the 5-point previews the way they do. It's why they put up video stories and pictures of images side by side like they do. It's the way that they do things. And this week, of course, they posed a top 10 countdown of good guys gone bad. And, of course, most people are going to look at that and go, oh, my God, is John Cena going to turn at Payback? And, of course, we're like, shut up, Mark, stop marking out. That's not going to happen. But it's very damn possible that Sheamus does. And for me, that's the best way to get out of Sheamus losing the title clean to Cesaro, because Cesaro definitely does not need that U.S. title put on him if they're going to put a rocket up his butt to get him to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture in the near future, in the very near future. By the fall, Cesaro will be main event status.
And you know what I just realized? It was a thought that came into my head, and we all know probably Sheamus is going to turn heel somewhere down the road. And the idea of the double turn that I brought up, I actually like the idea of Paul Heyman maybe turning on Cesaro and aligning himself with Sheamus. And the first thought that would come to mind is that, you know what, Heyman just aligned himself with Cesaro. It's too soon. But you know what? I think it was back in 04, 05. In a matter of 3 months, Paul Heyman went from managing Brock Lesnar to The Big Show to Kurt Angle. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. But
here's the thing. They also teased a lot of dissension between Lesnar and Heyman at that point. They teased dissension between people. They've given no reason for Heyman to turn on Cesaro this week.
Right, but I think that we're going to start getting that.
Oh, if we start getting it, yeah, but it's not going to happen next week, though.
And I think that's where Paul Heyman's constant reminding of the fans that Brock Lesnar is his client.
Exactly.
That conquered the streak. That's ultimately going to piss Cesaro off.
Right.
And you're going to start seeing the tension.
My point is, I don't see any way Heyman's working with Sheamus.
No, I don't see that either.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can I actually? Here's something I was just thinking about, and I know this is a very weird way to use this, but later on, you see something like maybe after Payback, someone, either Axel or Ryback, just starts needling at Cesaro to try to push it as well. And at some point, maybe before SummerSlam or so, you finally see the wheels turning in Cesaro's head that, yeah, Heyman is essentially still using me as a stepping stone.
You know what? They're not going to use Ryback or Axel.
No.
They don't want Axel or Ryback cutting any promos at anybody. They don't want to have them talk. They just want them to shut the hell up.
And I got to say, I like Ryback. I do. It's been better than it should be. It's been a lot better.
Yeah. Just don't talk.
No.
It's something to just put out there.
The charisma vacuum that is Curtis Axel.
If you want to throw somebody like a John Cena at Cesaro, that kind of reminds Cesaro, because John Cena obviously loves Cesaro. They work out together all the time. If you want to throw somebody like John Cena into that arena backstage in a promo where he's like, hey, this guy, what's he really doing for you? You could be a big star.
Like a Cena-Cesaro feud. Holy crap.
That's the reason I thought myself Cena.
But hell no, Ryback or Curtis Axel. They're never going to put Curtis Axel and Ryback in the same area as Paul Heyman ever.
You sound like a nuclear.
Cena-Cesaro, guys. Cena-Cesaro. What a freaking feud that would be.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and
that's going to happen eventually.
It's going to happen.
That could be next WrestleMania.
That should be the feud that Cesaro turns after.
Yes, I agree, very much so. Let's talk about before what?
Is Cesaro still the favorite to win the Money in the Bank?
Yes.
Well, let's see where they go with. Let's see where they go with the.
Correct.
Right, we don't know who's in the match, but right now he's definitely one of the 2 or 3 guys.
He may not even be in a briefcase match. He could be in a championship match.
Right. I mean, it all depends on tonight's announcement and where we go from here, because it could be Cesaro, it could be Wyatt. I mean, and let's face it, it could be Reigns if they're going to push it that far. I mean, you could really.
Does Wyatt really need the belt though?
No.
He's one of those guys that doesn't need gold.
Exactly.
But the briefcase would be great.
Wyatt doesn't need gold, but they're going to need to change the Cena feud up somehow if they extend SummerSlam.
I am so okay with Bray Wyatt never, ever having, or at least ever saying that he wants it. And I've said this on Wrestling Rumors Radio. He never needs to come out and say, I want that WWE Heavyweight Championship. Because, buddy, you're the eater of worlds. You just proclaimed yourself to be a god 2 weeks ago. There's at no point ever that you should say you need that title.
Just imagine
if he gets put in a match, oh shit. You want to talk about if you had Cena win the Money in the Bank ladder match and Wyatt cashes in the same night?
Put your pants out.
Easy there, Abba.
No, but just think about it. Cena's all beaten down and all that. He just chat. And then it's so much money. That's exactly what it is, Doug. And that's how you extend the feud to SummerSlam, because you wouldn't even need to have them have a Money in the Bank match together.
Yep.
They finish at Payback. My God.
I just blew your effing mind. But these are things that can happen. These are things that can happen. We're strictly just BS and fantasy booking, but these are things that could go down if it winds up being. I mean, what the hell? If you're going to throw, they have to book SummerSlam and they have to book Night of Champions like WrestleMania. The success of the WWE Network.
We know Lesnar's going to be there.
Right. The success of the WWE Network banks on Night of Champions being booked like a WrestleMania card. Period. Because at the beginning of September is when everybody's 6 months comes to an end. If they don't want to still pay $9.99 a month for the network, they don't have to. So if the main selling point is that you get every pay-per-view for $10 a month, then they have to build Night of Champions like it's a freaking WrestleMania card. And that means Lesnar. That means everybody firing on all cylinders. If Jericho's back, you can probably bet your ass we're going to get Jericho RVD at some point. And it's going to be a fantastic match. But you're going to get Lesnar Cesaro either at SummerSlam and Night of Champions and or at just one of them. It's likely going to be at both. And it could be for a championship.
I would love to see Cesaro cash in on Brock Lesnar.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what if we get Lesnar back and he gets the title off of somebody at SummerSlam, and then...
And you know what, Doug? Josh Eisenberg and I were talking about that. We're saying with Brock Lesnar, who is there left for him to face? And we only came up with two guys, and it was Cesaro and it was Daniel Bryan. Correct. So, I mean, it has to be one of those two that he's against. And Cesaro makes a lot more sense than Bryan does. I mean, Reigns is an option, but Reigns is only an option if he's away from the Shield, I think, at least.
Which could happen at WrestleMania.
It could happen at WrestleMania.
Not
at SummerSlam or Night of Champions.
I knew we were talking about just Night of Champs. Okay, all right. I thought we were talking about like WrestleMania, like long term. Okay.
No, I mean, there's a few guys you could say in that.
No, I'm saying Night of Champions because they have to book Night of Champions like it. Get people to resubscribe to the network.
And there's money in Bryan versus Lesnar because that's super underdog versus the guy who conquered the streak. Yeah. But I mean, I think Cesaro Lesnar just makes sense on so many levels.
I think if you're gonna,
they would have.
Yes, and if you're gonna push Cesaro to be this next big huge face, like they're wanting to do, like they're wanting to, those Cesaro section signs, just like the Bad News Barrett signs that you saw on Raw in London, are manufactured by the company. They're manufactured by WWE and handed out to the attendants. Like that, they're sitting in the seats waiting for people to get there. People aren't printing those out and bringing them.
Was that the same case with the Believer signs from SmackDown?
Yes.
Yeah.
All those signs that are about 8 by 11 that look like somebody printed them out and brought them as a massive part of the crowd are not being brought by fans. They're being manufactured by the company. I know this from one of my buddies who is a writing assistant at the company right now. You know who you are. I'm going to tell your name, but what's up, buddy? I know that you watch this show most of the time on your phone while you're back there going crazy at the actual arenas. So my buddy said they are literally producing all these things. They want to build...
And that's fine.
They want to build Cesaro up the way that Daniel Bryan was built organically. They want to manufacture a big-time underdog face push for Cesaro because it started with the swing. It started with him starting to get over organically. And now their whole purpose of him being with Heyman and all these different things building towards Lesnar and Cesaro. Yes, Cesaro has to be the first person to defeat Brock Lesnar and take that streak victory away so that he can be elevated up here. And that's where we're going.
Doug,
what?
If Jericho does return, could you ever see him making a return as a heel? If only because I know the last time he did was 2012, and when he ever gets to return, he gets to return pops. But I'm wondering right now what it would be like to see Cesaro and Jericho just to transition Cesaro this heel thing with Heyman, and basically just keep him marinating until he gets ready for a bigger feud like Cena or Lesnar.
I think it's money. Jericho can be either or anytime. He's one of those people that has the factor that he can be a heel or a face. He knows how to play the crowd in that retrospect. I think it's money. I really think that you can get a good feud out of Cesaro and Jericho. Holy crap! Can you imagine the matches?
I want to see Jericho, and we talked about this in our chat. I want to see Jericho do something this time around if he comes, because he really, when all is said and done, hasn't done anything other than help get guys over, and that's great because he should help get guys over. But he can help get guys over while simultaneously being successful himself.
They could put the title on. They could put the title on him very well.
They could put any title on him.
Yeah, no, it's not going to lessen the value of Chris Jericho for him to hold the IC title.
But it'll lessen the potential people that you could help push him over with. If you just put a mid-card title on him, and you already got Cesaro so far over into where his main event consistent.
Who's that?
I'm saying, the kind of people you want Jericho to put over with this roster right now.
What about a Jericho Sandow feud for the IC title? That would be fantastic.
Anybody that you put Jericho with is going to be elevated, period. Because that's who Jericho is now. He is the guy that can come. Think about Ziggler. They pushed Ziggler with Jericho, and it worked. It made Ziggler bigger than Ziggler was prior to Jericho.
Didn't work for Fandango, though.
Yeah.
It was going to.
It worked for him.
For one match, it worked. For one match at WrestleMania, it worked.
He was relevant. He was relevant, then got hurt. He was relevant, then got hurt.
But he wasn't anything.
But he was getting there. They were working a program with each other.
He was going to be the Intercontinental Champion.
He was going to win the Intercontinental Champion, and they were going to push Fandango harder than you thought. And we're talking the concussion just ruined all of it. And now we're left with what I think we're going to get booked tonight. And let's go ahead and talk about what we think we're going to get on the rest of the Payback card. Obviously, we're going to get Summer Rae and Layla in some type of match. And now let's talk about. I really think that's one of the matches that they're going to book. There's going to be 2 Divas matches on this card. Whether it's the kickoff match,
tag, you think?
It could easily be the kickoff match.
I'd rather see an air giant tag.
I think the rest of the card shapes out like this. We got the Intercontinental title match, the United States title match. We got Last Man Standing, we got the 6-man. The rest of the matches will be, we got Adam Rose and Jack Swagger. That's definitely a must-have.
Could be a kickoff.
We're probably going to get the Usos versus Harper and Rowan for the tag titles. That might be the kickoff match.
This one.
Paige and Alicia Fox for the Divas Championship. That's a must.
Yes.
And they might, if they remember what they did 2 weeks ago, we might get Rusev and Big E, but that's 50-50 at this point.
Rusev will face somebody. It could likely be 2 people, like we saw at the last one. But Rusev's going to face someone. But you got to look. They've put in time to this Summer Rae Layla thing over the last week and a half. And if there's anything that we know, they have nothing left on the card. And if you're going to do Adam Rose, Jack Swagger, that could be your kickoff match. They're not going to do Usos versus the Wyatt.
Thank God for the WWE Network, because if it wasn't for those subscriptions, I don't think anyone would buy this crap, to be honest.
The Usos and the Wyatt family will be involved in that Last Man Standing match. That's when you see them. I do not think that we're going to get a tag team title match unless they add it tonight. And that's going to, for me...
It would be better for Money in the Bank.
Yes, and that extends the John Cena Bray Wyatt program even farther.
But am I right about this whole WWE Network thing? Like, anyone really put down $50 for this crap if it wasn't for the network?
With Bryan gone, probably not.
Probably not.
The problem is that with the Bryan match out, don't you have to put some of these fringe match ideas that we're sort of blowing off right now? With Bryan's match out, don't we got to put them potentially on the table to sort of to basically create filler?
Yes,
you're still going to see a segment at whatever pay-per-view, Payback, that's going to be involving the title.
Yeah, Bryan will be at Payback. That'll be a segment. That'll take up 10 minutes.
In some way or form, he's still going to be on the show.
Let's see what happens. I'm not so sure about that. He should be, but let's see what happens tonight. I don't know about that.
Right? If
that Chicago crowd will rip him a new hole if he does it.
If they strip the title off of him and have Kane beat the hell out of him again or something, we might not see him until Money in the Bank.
I mean, one thing to keep in mind. Shield match is now no holds barred and elimination. That's where Bryan could play a role, especially if he gets stripped of the championship.
Well,
if he gets stripped of the championship,
but that would hinder the push of Roman Reigns defeating all three members of Evolution.
True.
Why would he involve himself in that match?
Well, if there's authority takes the title off him, you never know. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying it should happen. But I'm just saying that is an idea that you could possibly have. I think regarding Summer Rae and Layla, that's something that should be on a pay-per-view match because the crowd is actually invested in Summer Rae, whether people want to believe that or not. People do like Summer Rae. I'm sorry, it's the truth, and I believe it was.
She canceled another truth match. That's the best it's done.
I can't remember which legend said it. It may have been Mick Foley. It may have been JR. One of them said that there's a lot of money in Summer Rae, like Trish Stratus style money. So it's just saying they have big plans for Summer Rae. I really do believe that.
I don't know who said that, but I'd like to laugh in their face.
Just to close off what you said,
it was either Foley or JR.
With the segment with Daniel Bryan tonight, I think when Bryan gets stripped or if he doesn't get stripped, I don't think Triple H is going to be out there. I think it's going to be Stephanie and maybe an appearance by Kane. That's it.
It would be Stephanie, but by association. Or what if Kane comes out to help Evolution?
Right.
I mean, that's where you can have Bryan even the odds, you know?
Maybe, yeah.
I agree to that. And then and then maybe you get your, even if they do take the title off of him and he's not in a title match at Money in the Bank, maybe they push the Buried Alive match there.
Is there any slim chance that Daniel Bryan's going to be able to go at Money in the Bank? Even
yes,
there's a chance.
There's a chance for that.
Honor Madison does great things.
And I mean,
if he wrestles at Money in the Bank, sorry, Doug.
No, go ahead.
No, I think if he wrestles at Money in the Bank, then there's really no reason to strip him of the belt because it's just a month away.
I agree, unless they want to push Reset.
Yeah,
Which
but
could be the case.
I mean, it's clear
they would piss a lot of people off.
They don't feel good about the title reign from Bryan.
Exactly. I mean, that's the issue too. I mean, most of the stuff with Triple H and them saying, maybe he just can't hang, maybe he just can't go.
No, the problem was they booked him against a guy that had no title shot.
It's their fault. It's entirely.
Why the hell didn't they book him against Triple H at Extreme Rules? I know they wanted to do the Evolution thing, but that was the obvious play.
They're giving him the Zack Ryder treatment. And I know I'm going to get
the blame for this. It's them.
He is not dressing up as a bunny and dancing around with Adam Rose right now.
It hasn't gotten exactly what happened to Zack Ryder when the internet made him popular. He even had
Zack Ryder was a harder.
I'll agree that they gave him.
Ryder was just a character.
I'll agree that they booked him similarly with his wife being involved with Kane. That's as far as it goes.
Zack Ryder didn't headline the 30th WrestleMania and win the biggest match of.
Didn't win two matches at WrestleMania 30 to get the title either.
WWE expected to give. They gave Daniel Bryan crap and they expected him to turn it into gold and he couldn't do it. The obvious play was for Kane to team with Batista and Orton to take on the Shield at Extreme Rules and then Daniel Bryan to fight Triple H for the belt and they didn't do it and now they're taking it out on Bryan.
Well, I mean isn't that how they always work?
That's fair.
Isn't that how it usually goes? Superstar's fault.
Pretty much.
Put it on somebody else.
Look at Ziggler.
It's Miz.
Yeah.
Miz.
That's WWE. How many times do we have to say #WWE logic?
Miz is another story though. That was.
Miz can suck a cock. He is not good. He's
I'm not saying he's good. I'm not saying he's good.
That's what happened.
No, Doug. What I was saying was that Miz was just something else. He was a personality at best. He had some marginal talent, but to put him on the same pedestal as Ziggler, I feel so bad that WrestleMania 27 never had to happen, if only because you had to watch a guy for 3 years ride off the memory of something from 3 years ago winning one match. I don't know how Miz's booking ever happened in 2011.
You just said why it happened.
I know, but it baffles me. It flummoxes me.
The guy, I don't want to take anything away from the Miz vocally, because the guy can talk. He's got great charisma. He's just terrible in the ring. He's got a few moves that he
don't think
do
he's
well.
terrible. He's just
got
not
a few moves that
he's
he
marginal.
He is United States champion material. Leaving there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think he's terrible in the ring.
It's not good. He's not bad.
I don't.
European champion at best.
He's a mid-carder in the ring.
Yes, I don't think that there's ever been a time where I'm like, God, that Miz match was phenomenal.
The only thing we think about is, good God, this guy took the figure 4.
But I've really thought that that is not the figure 4 that he does. That is the figure botch. That is the figure botch leg lock. He is not. There's been plenty of promos by him that I've enjoyed, and how many times I've talked about that video package, that video promo that he did, how awesome it was before that match.
WrestleMania 27 one.
I have to see it.
Fantastic. He's good vocally, and that just comes from being on TV for years, But
He would have been a great GM.
Yeah, and I think he still could be, later on. Now let's talk about GMs. Because one of the 5-point previews of Raw and what we talked about, what we figured would happen after watching Raw in London. If you watched the pre and post show on the WWE Network, there was no Wrestle Reaction, so I actually watched the post show on the network. Brad Maddox is in for an ass whooping tonight from Triple H.
Yeah.
Possibly a firing. Let's see what happens. Brad Maddox actually agreed, whether it was via beatdown by the Shield or via threatening by the Shield, agreed to have Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns come out as guest commentators on Raw last week. And even the 5-point previews teasing Brad Maddox getting punished by the Authority tonight for allowing that to happen. So you can probably expect either on the pre-show or in a backstage segment, Brad Maddox is going to get his butt handed to him by Triple H and the boys from Evolution tonight. I don't know where that goes. There's been plenty of rumors about them wanting to use a new GM sometime soon. Maybe
don't even need him.
Some way we get teased into that. No, with the Authority being there, you don't need a GM. Just waters down the product. And I like Brad Maddox. Don't get me wrong. I like his character. I like the.
It's a good.
I like the mama's boy. I try to be a superstar. I try to be a superstar. But the guy, he could be a good mid-card talent to throw in and let people. Some of the stuff he does in the ring is better than Heath Slater, in my opinion.
It's a good opportunity for him to go back down to NXT and work on the little things he needs to work on before being brought back up. If he's fired, I think.
Not bad. That's not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind.
Or just use him on a commentary team or as a manager.
Yeah. He's got good vocal abilities. When he did NXT commentary, I liked it. So
he can make it.
I hated the people who said he couldn't talk. Like, he's so nervous. I'm like, that's his freaking gimmick. My goodness. It's like.
Bo Dallas doesn't think he's a real face. Get out of here. Bray Wyatt
ripped
is
into
not
that
Bray
on
Wyatt.
Wrestling Rumors Radio.
Look,
if you listen to my Wrestling Rumors Radio with Bo Dallas, I am a little worried about Bo Dallas. I am. And
get out of here.
Bo Dallas.
Here's why I'm worried with Bo Dallas.
If you're listening to Wrestling Rumors Radio, it was literally polar opposites from day 1 to day 2.
Well, I purposely did that. And here's the thing. It is nothing to do with Bo Dallas himself. I don't think it has any, because I think he's talented. I love the Bo Dallas gimmick. I think it's funny. I think that the fans are going, and especially the casual fans, are going to have a hard time figuring out what his deal is.
I think the same fears there can be thrown at Adam Rose.
Absolutely, totally with Adam Rose. I think the problem is, I think there are going to be casual fans who literally are going to take to Bo Dallas and cheer for him because they think, oh wow, this guy's like really good. Like,
he's the ultimate motivational speaker.
They won't get the troll aspect of it. I mean, it is. if we have ever seen a troll gimmick before, this is it. This is the definitive troll gimmick.
This is great. It's awesome.
And Warhead, it's right up your alley, man.
I know, right?
And like, I think there's going to be a lot of casual fans who are not going to grasp that.
I think
best gimmick ever.
It is the best gimmick ever.
Okay. Use your words lightly here, people.
Hey,
Best
for me,
gimmick.
Not the best gimmick ever.
for me, this is the best gimmick ever.
I'll take Brother Bray over Brother Bo.
It's not going to go on the. It's not going to go on the WWE Countdown show on the network as the #1 gimmick ever.
Did you guys
This
see
music
the
is so perfect.
Did you guys see the kayfabe news article with Bray Wyatt?
Yes!
Suddenly,
Oh my God!
Bray Wyatt having like going through rehab and realizing that he is psychologically ill.
Yeah, no. He went back on his medication. Apparently, Bray Wyatt stopped taking his medication a while back. And obviously going off of his real name, Rotunda, and he created this multiple personality of Bray Wyatt, and now he's back. They used an old picture of Husky Harris in a flannel shirt, like his face and stuff, and he's like, and it's literally like, I'm back on my medication. I've separated myself from Eric Rowan. And
he made amends with Cena.
They were enablers.
Made amends with Cena over brunch.
Yes, Cena over for brunch. Sorry, I apologize to my many fans who legitimately were hurt by my actions, and I regret the blasphemous remarks that I am a god. Like, just really awesome. If you don't check out kayfabenews.com, it's really, really funny, actually.
And Luke Harper is really Eli Cottonwood, and Eric Rowan is really Lucky Cannon.
Yes. Really
fun. Nice. It is a mustache.
I like it. I think if we're gonna talk about Bray Wyatt, let's go ahead and talk about the Last Man Standing match for Sunday, and see what we're gonna get tonight. Obviously, Bray Wyatt was seen getting the upper hand this past Monday night, which I enjoyed. I thought him throwing Sister Abigail's left and right was freaking amazing. And I'm telling you, this guy's literally my favorite wrestler currently. Undertaker's about done, and he'll be my favorite of all time. But dude, Bray Wyatt, and I said it when he was in NXT. If you're watching, you can back me up because I said this week after week after week. Bray Wyatt was going to take this company by storm when he came up because he is so effing good in the ring and with his gimmick and how he manipulates the crowd, and he can literally be a face here and a heel here and a face heel and a heel here. If he wanted to be full heel right now, he would be, to the marks that say that Bray Wyatt is a heel. Screw yourself. They know better. They are booking him as the face in this match. I don't care what you say or what you think. They literally, in Greenville, for some reason in Greenville, they teased like he was going to be the heel again and literally booked him as the heel. There was no cheap pop in the entrance. There was he literally was being a heel character on Raw in Greenville, South Carolina 2 weeks ago. And then in London, he played like a freaking face the entire time. We're talking cheap pop, pandering to the crowd, getting them involved, having them do everything he wanted them to do. He played face at the end. I mean, this guy literally can do whatever the hell he wants. And until they give him the green light on a full face turn, he's going to keep doing this stuff. He's going to get over organically. But if they really want him to be the heel here, he would be the heel here. You've lost your mind if you think that he's actually a heel in this program. They understand that John Cena is going to get more boos from the men than Bray Wyatt, and that's why they're literally booking it this way. And what all it's doing is it's elevating him to a new position on the card. He literally skipped mid-card talent, and he is now effing main event. Look at the people that Bray Wyatt's worked with since he came up. Go down the list of people that he's actually worked with. When he was doing, he started with Kane. And his debut match was with Kane at SummerSlam in a Ring of Fire match.
Kane,
that's
Kofi
big enough.
On paper, it sounds
right. Then he just squashed Kofi Kingston and R-Truth on Raw in his first Raw matches, and then literally moved to CM Punk and Daniel Bryan.
Right, I think at some point.
I mean, the gimmicks have their differences, but
He buried the jobbers and then literally went to the main eventers.
I love the story with Vince, bringing him back down to developmental, and he looks him in the face and says, "I'll be back." It's awesome.
The gimmicks have their differences, but I think Bray Wyatt is going to be the Undertaker of this generation. Yes. When the Undertaker goes off, he's not a paranormal gimmick, but he's so far out there psychologically.
He's the most gimmicky character.
He speaks as a paranormal gimmick.
Yes,
he's the most gimmicky character they have.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, well, outside of Fandango, and Fandango is so gimmicky.
Yeah, but Adam Rose.
Adam Rose is super gimmicky as well.
No, but I'm talking main players here. Come on.
No, I agree.
And he hasn't touched the surface of what he can do for this company.
Yes.
He's not even hit his peak yet, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's just getting started, bros. This guy could go for 20 years just like the Undertaker did. I agree.
We're witnessing with Bray Wyatt something that probably people outside of my generation would only say is the Undertaker.
Yes, no, it's the same way the Undertaker started.
It's a perfect comparison.
It's the same way the Undertaker started. Straight up the main event.
So for me, for the first time, I can say I'm witnessing something that I've never seen before. And I mean, I know all of you have been watching. You guys are all older than me, except for, I think, Bison. I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, they tried to do it before with Waylon Mercy, right? That was pretty much the same thing.
Who?
Waylon Mercy, remember him? It was like the Robert De Niro character from Cape Fear. That's what they were trying to do originally with Bray Wyatt, but he evolved into something more.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Shrimp boat.
The great thing.
They literally were going Cape Fear until he took it on his own and made it into this. I'm a god.
He alluded to the fact that he murdered his father.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how dark the character can be. Like, if they want to make him a heel, they can make him a creepy-ass heel, okay?
It just goes to show what can happen if you give the right gimmick to the right guy.
Yes. And a little bit of them has to come out. And I'm telling you, that's the beautiful part about it. Is Dusty Rhodes came up with this character. Let's go off of Cape Fear, baby. Let's give you the thing and let's see what happens.
Uncle Faith.
Let's see what happens here. And then, of course, you have, Bray Wyatt goes, okay.
As long as
Bray Wyatt brought that music in for himself. He found that song. That's a song that he found and said, this would be perfect. No one writes scripts for Bray Wyatt. He writes his own stuff.
It also helps when you're the son of an agent, too.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, it does.
That's why Bo Dallas is getting pushed to the freaking moon. Yeah. Just wait.
But Doug,
they're good, though. They're both good.
Yeah.
I'm waiting, Ed.
Okay, sorry. Here's my thing. Okay. You guys talk about how he's the Undertaker of this generation.
Yes.
The great thing about Undertaker's consistency, going from 1990 till now, now is that he speaks in such symbolic ways. He speaks in such generic terms that it has such great consistency and longevity that Bray, I feel as though he'll probably not admit it, but we all have studied in some respect Undertaker's promos, and he's found a way to latch onto him and speak in such a symbolic manner to the everyman that's what's going to help him maintain for so many years to come. You can basically insert face name here and make him the demon of all ideology. Right now it's John Cena because he's the top name. He's considered the corporate marketing puppet. So that's what the great thing right now is about Wyatt. He's able to convert so many people into the villain so fast.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he'll be able to do it with anybody.
There's
not a lot of people that have come through the company year after year after year that have this kind of talent. Roddy Piper was one of those guys that could easily just take it and go, all right, I got this to talk to you about. No one's writing me a script. I'll just go off. And then that's what happens. Shawn Michaels is one of those guys. It's one of those, if you have that ability to think and be able to convert your thoughts into weapons, verbal weapons, that's what makes you a great superstar. And that's what'll make you be able to last for, year after year after year. And yeah, we're going to get that with Bray Wyatt. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. And it doesn't matter if he has those two guys with him forever or not. It just doesn't. They could leave him tomorrow, and he'd still be
who are both still talented in their own regard.
Luke Harper's going to be a star once they split. I'll tell you that right now. And they don't ever have to split, really. They really don't.
Yeah.
No, but speaking of NXT, I know we got plenty of time, so that's why I want to bring this up. This week we have NXT Takeover coming up. It is this week, right? I want to make sure.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
My dates have been all out of whack. So I want to make sure I'm right on this. Yeah. We got NXT Takeover this week, and with NXT Takeover, we have, I don't know where all that noise is coming from, but we have the main event of Adrian Neville and Tyson Kidd. And I alluded to this when I hosted warm-up. I'm curious to see where the company's going with Tyson Kidd, because Tyson Kidd's the heel in this match, technically.
Yeah.
And he played heel at the house shows, and maybe a lot of people are thinking maybe this is where they start doing something with Tyson Kidd. I just wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on NXT Takeover. I know, Doug, you're really into it. I know, Walter, you're really into it all. So
yeah, man. Walter, you go ahead. I'll take it. I'll take a follow-up.
Look, I'm a huge supporter of NXT and what they're doing down there. In my free time, I do watch a lot of their older stuff. If you haven't seen the match from, if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, between Sami Zayn, Tyler Breeze, who I think is going to have a future on his hands when he makes it to the main. Where's that noise coming from? That's really.
I think it's Cavani that came in. A little noisy.
Sorry. Yeah, but the match from last week with Sami Zayn, Tyler Breeze, and Tyson Kidd, holy crap. When I do my updated piece of the 10 best matches of 2014, that is going to be on that list, I assure you.
Match.
As far as Tyson Kidd is concerned, I actually think there's a possibility he may win the NXT Championship from Adrian Neville. Because I think WWE is ready to push Neville to the main roster. I know we've said a million times that it seems like every week there's a new NXT guy coming up, but we've seen that with Rusev and Paige and Adam Rose and now Bo Dallas. But you know what? The roster needs these guys at the moment, and Adrian Neville is so perfect. And I would like to see Sami Zayn make his way up, and I would love to see Tyler Breeze on the main roster, but you can only do so many guys at once. NXT TakeOver, if it's anything close to NXT Arrival, it's going to be one hell of a show.
Yeah, man, I'm freaking stoked for it. And I'll tell you one thing. When we're talking about Tyson Kidd, I could go either way in saying that he could be the next NXT champion because they need to do something with him. He's one of the best wrestlers they've had on the roster for the last 5 years. I really do believe that he needs to be used. My only issue is they've been grooming Sami Zayn to be the NXT champion. And I don't think they're going to move Sami Zayn up without giving him that NXT title. The NXT fans that go there every single taping have been waiting for Sami Zayn to be the NXT champion. And I really think that this whole build, this tournament and everything to determine who's going to be the number one contender and go against Neville. If there's any, let me tell you something, it could go either way because Tyson Kidd can work too. But if we get a Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn match for the title, like we got the dark match of SmackDown from this past week. Oh, man. What a freaking clinic that was, dude. And I'm telling you, like, people were going, all these new talents coming up, what's going to happen to all these other guys? Well, they're not doing anything with those other guys anyway right now. So, you know what? If Adrian Neville comes in and takes R-Truth's place and Sami Zayn comes in and takes The Miz's place, guess what? It's time. It's time for new blood. It's time for an infusion of these guys that can freaking go and have the charisma to get over. Adrian Neville's going to get over. He's British, but the guy can get over. That there's always a harder, a tougher road for someone with an accent to get over with the U.S. fans. But internationally, and then if you're just that good in the ring, it can work. And the guy can get over. He's got charisma, shooting out of his big old ears. But Sami Zayn is going to be a huge commodity for the main roster.
And your girl Charlotte's got a title match too.
Yes, she does. Right? And Ric Flair's in her corner.
And Hart's in Natalia's corner.
Natalia's not winning that title.
Well, no.
My girl Charlotte's winning that title on Thursday. And I'm very excited about that because I really think that she can be a very big asset to the Diva roster as well when she gets pulled up. Obviously, you're going to have Bret Hart in the corner of Natalya, Ric Flair in the corner of Charlotte, and we're gonna get if Ric Flair's in the corner, you better believe we're getting a Flair flop from Charlotte. She's been doing it. She's been doing it, and she's been doing it well. She gets whipped into the ropes really, really hard, and she doesn't do the flip over and also over the ring, but she does hit, and then she kind of just goes, and it's fantastic. I love it. I mark out every single time. The girl can wrestle.
And you know what? Really Charlotte would probably be better off in Paige's spot right now than age actually is, because there's more face divas to challenge for a heel divas champion, and the fact that Ric Flair is returning to TV, that makes sense as well.
And I don't. And
Did you see Flair going with Charlotte?
I said it over and over and over again that we're seeing Flair be Charlotte's representative on NXT whenever he's there. I would not hate to see Flair and his daughter be the heel character and Flair be a heel character like he wants to be, and have him literally make her the dirtiest diva in the game. Are you kidding me? A Flair managing his daughter.
That's probably where he's needed more.
Incredible. Get out of here. That'd be perfect.
She's a beautiful woman. People need to shut up. Like, I've heard people on Twitter say, she has kind of like the Amazon thing going. Well, Beth Phoenix did too.
She's a lot better.
She was a beautiful
woman. A lot more
woman.
attractive than Beth Phoenix.
Doug likes his tall chicks.
I do like my My wife is tall.
Yeah, it's tall to ride and ride.
And I don't like him looking like a bird, Summer Rae. I like him pretty.
More attractive than Lana.
Let me ask you this though: if Flair returns to the main roster, who do you think is best? Who do you think he is best suited to return with? Is he best suited to go with someone like Ziggler, who already has the mic skills and the veteran experience, or someone like Charlotte, who's just being groomed up? Hypothetical.
It would be Charlotte.
I like him coming in with Charlotte, and I like them being a heel. I like her being a heel diva and him being her heel manager. That's what I like to see.
Are you kind of I know this is going to come off as sexist, but are you kind of wasting Ric Flair with a diva in a company that doesn't value divas?
Elevate the divas.
I think it'd be unique, but here's the problem with it, Doug, because you're saying Flair's going to be back soon. You can't make Charlotte champion if you want to do that.
No, I agree. But if he's going to be used in all different areas, I would rather see him with a heel guy. I don't know who that would be. They were saying
Sandow.
What if we finally get the split? Roman Reigns goes face. Possibly you get Rollins and Ambrose go heel. Flair with Rollins would be incredible.
Yeah, Flair with Rollins would be fantastic.
Rollins needs a little bit of help. Mike Watts, he's done better in recent weeks, but
he'll get there.
Flair with Rollins would be stupendous.
And Flair put over the Shield anyway, so you
That's
can.
What I'm saying. It's easy.
Am I the only one more looking forward to NXT Takeover than WWE Payback?
No,
yes, I know. I'm with
looking
you,
forward to.
I'm actually looking forward to Takeover.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm more looking forward to Thursday than Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
we still get Sami Zayn versus Tyler Breeze as an undercard match, which is going to be crazy. And say what haters. Ascension, whatever, they're going to have a match against Kalisto and El Cal, who are the Lucha Libre thing. That should be a good match. And you even get an Adam Rose appearance in a building where they absolutely love the guy. So it should be made for some good TV.
They just need if he's going to be on the pay-per-view, they just need to re-show that match just to show everyone that he actually is over, I think.
Yeah.
Willie, you're just joining us. Looks like you're on location outside on the patio taking a smoke break, sir. It looks like you're having a good time. We're talking to Ric Flair. If he comes back on TV, who's he go with?
Well, I just caught the show. I'd have to say he cannot go with a face again because look at what happened with Miz. That was a disaster.
That was the Miz.
Well, by God, he wasn't actually managing Miz. He just gave him a stupid move, and Miz can't ever do it right.
And that was
and the piss poor figure four.
It is yes, I'll take that or the figure botch leg lock. Yes.
No, he would definitely have to go with the heel for sure, and why not with Charlotte, man? That's perfect. It writes.
I agree. The only thing is what John said, and you can't have her win the Divas Championship and then come up to the main roster immediately.
No. He needs a solid.
I'd be fine with giving a trial run in NXT.
Natalia's not really doing too much, so I mean, keep her there until maybe before SummerSlam. I mean, I understand Total Divas, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like you said, Charlotte, if she's that close right now, Natalia's not really in the title picture booking. I understand for Total Divas, you need to keep filming, but they do enough stuff in NXT. I mean, why not try to show that off as well?
Yeah.
Not happening.
Make them the power couple of NXT, Natalia and Tyson Kidd. Who knows?
Yeah, no, you could.
That's not the worst idea.
And then you have the Divas show too, because they're both on. Natalia's on the Divas show.
Right. Yeah.
And,
yes.
It's a bad idea, but it is possible. They're both in those matches. There's a chance they could both win.
Yeah, I don't want to see Natalya heel right now. I think she is a good heel, but
there's a chance, but you're looking at like a 20% chance.
Yeah. You mentioned Adam Rose and
Adam Rose, Jack Swagger coming up.
I was going to say.
Talk about it.
That show is at Payback is in Chicago. It is so important for Adam Rose to have the best freaking match of his career against Jack Swagger right away. That's what I think, at least. What do you guys think?
That should be the opening match of Payback.
I hope they don't bump it to the pre-show.
No, I don't think that they're.
They won't bump it.
I don't want to say I don't think that they're dumb enough to book it as the kickoff match because it could very well be the kickoff match.
It should be the opening match.
Personally, the kickoff match.
I don't agree with that.
If they do a tag match, they could do that as a kickoff match. But the biggest thing for me, honestly, you could do Ryback and the Rhodes brothers and further that split, but they haven't even really been doing much of that lately the last couple of weeks, outside of SmackDown. Whoever watches that.
If you see it on SmackDown, you'll see it the next week on Raw.
Yeah, it's true that.
Which is why we're going to probably see the Bo Dallas and Cara match again. So I'm going to get to watch the debut again.
Oh yeah, that'll happen again tonight. Don't worry.
Good, I get to watch Bo Dallas.
Can we see Bo Dallas at Payback?
He'll probably cut a promo.
A filler match?
I don't know about in a match.
He'll come out. Probably he'll come out and congratulate or he'll do his promo work on someone who lost.
Well, we'll definitely see him on the show. It's just a matter of whether he has a match or not.
So likely, we've got. We're gonna end the show tonight at 7. Give everybody a little bit of time to get some dinner, and then get ready for the pre-show. And then of course Raw's at 8 o'clock. Go home Raw. I want everybody. Let's really just think about Rusev's opponent for Payback. Obviously, Big E was a likely candidate. And then, of course, we got some other guys thrown in the mix. What do we really see happening here? I don't think they're going to just not put Rusev on the card. He's going to be on Payback's card.
The racism continues.
So do we... okay, here we go. Do we get another daggone midget match?
No.
We are too.
Hey, I'm sorry. That was a good match.
It was.
It was not a good match.
It was an entertaining match.
That's fair.
Drew McIntyre took the spot of the freaking year.
It's so graceful. He just did this amazing. It was like he was jumping off a diving board into a dive. He just and flew so quickly onto
God.
Okay. All right. So
a hell in a dog carrier.
All right. So.
Oh, come on.
I got it.
I got it. I'm laughing at it.
All right. If I have a real gong actually. I don't know why. Here's
Thank you, Zach.
I have 3 options for Rusev for Payback. A, the actually competitive option, you book Big E or Ziggler. I don't know why you book Big E if you're still trying to maintain momentum. And Ziggler, he's not really showing too much promise right now. Get him through Payback. B, you book 3MB with him. A 3-on-1 match, I know it's heel on heel, but is anyone really taking 3MB seriously to consider him heels? 3, the trolling match, which the trolling match which Warhood would love. You say you found the best man from Chicago, you play Cult of Personality, and you bring out CM Skunk.
No.
I'm saying the degrees of likelihood.
See, I don't go that far. I do not go that far. You do not joke about that, especially in Chicago.
There's not much more you can do with Rusev right now.
Are the Rhodes brothers on the card?
You know what? Your idea of 3MB is actually more likely than Big E.
No,
didn't Rusev do something with 3MB on SmackDown or Raw last week?
If it was on SmackDown, did anyone really watch?
No.
I watched for Bo Dallas.
It was the Union Jacks.
I gotta say, I like that they're taking the time with the Rhodes brothers to make this happen because, Doug, you and I were both very worried that they were just going to make this a one pay-per-view thing or they were going to speed it. Yes. I know it's been slow and it hasn't been all that prevalent. But I'd rather them take their time with the split and make it a little bit bigger than just ruin it.
Yep. And because it could be a really good mid-card feud if they actually build it into a program that takes you to SummerSlam.
The video package alone would be stellar.
Yep. I mean, you got home videos.
Dusty would be amazing.
Oh, Dusty will be involved. Don't even act like he's not going to come out at some point during that feud. Don't.
Break it up, you.
I thought you guys fight over a train back in the day. You fight over a train.
Y'all
Why does
both.
my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth like this?
Why does my forehead look like a bunch of vaginas? I don't even know.
Suffering succotash.
Talking like a monkey. No,
Cody, did you put your muffler in?
don't y'all remember when y'all both inducted me into the WWE Hall of Fame? Why are we fighting now, brothers? Why are we fighting? I don't understand. And then Big Show comes out.
Big Show
comes out, cries, punches him in the face.
I'm sorry.
Says he's sorry. And...
I'm sorry.
And retires.
All right, we're gonna do a lightning round here. I'm gonna say.
Getting bold.
I want to know
Getting bold.
I want to know a yes or no answer. And we're gonna go this route. These are matches that we are going to see for Payback. You know, we've been talking about what we could see, what we're not, but I want just everybody that's tuning in for the last portion of the show. Yes or no? We see Summer Rae versus Layla. B-Song.
One on the bottom right there with Ziggler.
What?
How was that?
I don't know. I muted it again. Go. B-Song. Yes or no? Summer Rae, Layla.
C.
That's not even what I asked you to say. Walter.
Yes, you're one question.
Yes or no? Walter.
No.
Summer Rae, Layla with Fandango some way involved in the match. No. Ed.
Yes, intergender tag match. That's what I'll say.
Well, who the hell else is in the match? There's
There's someone in there.
Fandango's
Why is it so hard for everybody?
Not this one. Everybody never won the Raw one. It's not this one.
Son of a B. John, yes, no.
You can kick him, you know.
I did.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, no.
Pre-show.
Worse than the Brie Bella segment, man.
Pre-show, yes.
Pre-show. I like the pre-show. That's what I like too. Warhood, yes or no?
Pre-show, yes.
Willie, yes or no? Summer Rae, Layla.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
All right. So we got one no, bunch of yeses. Now, okay. So we already know the four that are locked in. Let's talk about Rusev versus the Union Jacks. Rusev versus 3MB. Yes or no? Alex.
Nope.
Walter.
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
John.
No.
Warhood.
No.
Willie.
No Rusev. No.
Oh, you say no Rusev match whatsoever.
Yeah, no Rusev match. I agree.
Will there be a payback Rusev match? Willie says no. Warhood says no. John, yes, no.
I say no. I'll tell you what. I think we get the beginning of the first feud for Rusev after he comes out and attacks someone at Payback.
That could work.
Yes or no?
So no match. No match for Rusev at Payback.
That dog needs serious attention right now.
Do I need to call the animal services?
That dog is not in a good place emotionally.
No. Wyatt is doing something creatively with that dog. Go ahead. Yes, no.
Awful.
Rusev match, yes or no? You say yes, and you think it's 3MB, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Big Show match, yes or no? Yes or no?
I saw that, Doug.
Everybody, yes or no?
No.
No.
Y'all don't play this game well. Is there a lag? Are we lagging?
I don't know.
It's the worst thing we've ever done.
Yeah. Well, this is worse than Brawl for All.
You're worse than Brawl for All.
Someone asked JR on Twitter. They're like, "Do you remember Brawl for All?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I do."
Okay, Adam Rose, Jack Swagger, obviously is going to happen. Do you think that his entourage gets involved? Yes or no?
No.
No, but JBL will say that Zeb is twerking.
It's contagious. It's starting to get contagious.
That's going on the drinking game, just so everyone's aware of that.
He's shaking his booty.
Nice.
Okay, Zeb's twerking. He's twerking.
Tonight, does Daniel Bryan surrender the title? Yes or no?
No.
Alex.
Nope.
John. Yes. Warhead.
This is hard. Yes.
I say he gets stripped of the title. It's different. Different than.
Well, yeah. Well, he's not going to leave tonight with the titles.
That's what I say.
There it is. All right. Let's talk Shield Evolution at Payback. Roman Reigns is the last man standing. Eliminates all 3 members of the Shield. Yes or no? Or eliminates all 3 members of Evolution. Yes or no? Alex.
Yep.
Walter.
No.
Ed.
No.
John.
No.
Warhead.
No.
All right, so we haven't talked about that match. Let's talk about it, and then we'll be good to go. What do you see happening here? What do you see play out? Do you see dissension begin again in the Shield? We know that Batista's going to be taking time off. Where do we go from here?
I think what's going to happen is Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are going to be the first 2 men eliminated. Reigns makes a comeback, eliminates Orton and Batista, and then Triple H eliminates Reigns.
So you think an Evolution victory with Triple H beating Reigns?
Yes.
Word for word.
Clean.
Yes.
So you think it's
It's
clean?
not clean. What do you mean clean? It's no holds barred.
Okay. Triple H does it himself with no outside interference.
Yeah, he does it clean.
I agree with your booking of that, Walter, except for the end. I think he's going to get some help from something, or something is going to screw up Roman Reigns.
Yes.
And that's where Triple H picks up the ball.
I agree. I agree completely. You know, a lot of people.
We agree that Triple H wins.
Yes.
Yes. And the only way that I don't see that happening is if they're wanting to just end this whole feud, but I don't think that's happening. I think we get Triple H and Roman Reigns going towards SummerSlam, and the best way to fuel that is to start it here. And yeah, I see both other members of the Shield get eliminated first. Raw is happening in 57 minutes. Pre-show starts in 27. John Alba's going to be tweeting at WrestlingRumors. Follow him for the live Twitter coverage. You can follow all of us else on Twitter as well, at The Real Warhood, at Walter Sports, at JBL's Dragon, at Glass Mode ALB, at Doug O'Mac, and of course at WrestlingRumors is the one you need to follow. John is of course at John Alba SFC, but he'll be on at WrestlingRumors tonight, giving you live coverage. Don't forget, Wrestle Reaction is live following Raw tonight. They are back after a week off. They don't do shows after tape Raws, which is smart on their part. So they'll be back tonight following Raw. WrestleReaction.net, Frank Manzo, Joe Omega, bringing you the best in post-Raw material. And of course, don't forget that we will be live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be coming from you from location somewhere not here, not in the man cave. I'll be coming to you from the beach. I'll be coming to you from my family vacation, which is what's going to be happening.
Who's ready to drink, baby?
You have no
idea. Enjoy the beach.
Yeah, so I'm going to be there. You're going to see me from there. There'll be a different scenery, but we're going to do this right here, Wrestling Warm-Up, building up towards Payback with hopefully a finalized card, building up at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, June 1st. We will take you directly into the kickoff show on the WWE Network, and then, of course, Payback is at 8. And there will be a Wrestle Reaction following the pay-per-view as well. Doug McDonald, WrestlingRumors.net, Wrestling Warm-Up. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. Looks like we had a good crowd. We will see you and catch you on the next one. Enjoy Raw tonight, boys. Enjoy Raw tonight, everyone. Peace.